It's not about only focusing on this day what I need to do. Is today, needless to say, that there's a certain shine, a certain ha'ara of Chesed Shebechesed that will allow me to more reach to the essence of it. But the idea is to take all the teachings of what we're going to do now in the next 7 weeks and to be able to apply it every day in your life. Not just today, because today is Chesed Shebechesed. Is to take the idea behind it and to apply it into my life on a daily basis. Now, I didn't say it's necessarily so easy, and I'm not expecting people to memorize every little word that we're saying. That's why, Baruch Hashem, we have technology, and you go to the rerun and you see it over and over with what you think is relating to you. It doesn't mean that every day we're going to hit a home run. Could be that one person for them is Gvura Shebechesed, another person is Netzach Shebayesod. The point is to take the information to be able to use it for my own self-refinement. We're going to try to do it in a way that the night before we'll learn. So tonight we're going to be counting Gvura Shebechesed. So we'll learn now also Gvura Shebechesed, which will allow me the next 24 hours to do a little task. The point is that we want to finish the class with a little homework. And if you're smart, you take this homework and you do that. Don't just sit here and warm a chair. Rather to take the practical teachings and apply it in your life. That's the whole point. So, yesterday we counted Chesed Shebechesed, and that's going to be over in 15 minutes, Be'ezrat Hashem. Chesed Shebechesed means love of love. Ahava Sheba'ava. Which we have to understand, what does it mean, Chesed Shebechesed? Chesed is kindness, Chesed is giving, Chesed is also love. We're going to concentrate this week, the week of Chesed, we're going to call it the week of love. And I need to learn how to love to love. I'm sure each and every one of you experience at some point in your life love, and the experience, the satisfaction that you get in your life the most is from love. When you're being loved, when you love somebody, when you fall in love, when you have the sensation of love. So, and needless to say, this is the experience of love can give a person the greatest satisfaction. Where do you see it? That a person is in love, the world can collide. I don't care about nothing. Right now, they're now dreaming of the person they're in love with. And literally the world can explode and they don't care. So, what we need to focus on in this week is about love. Today we're focusing how to develop the love in order to love. Because also to give love, that requires a lot of work. This is actually the Gvura Shebechesed. Chesed Shebechesed is to be able to love. I know it's a little bit not so clear, but I need to develop the emotion, the sensitivity, to be able to love another person. Now, if it's my wife, maybe for some people it's easy for them to love their wife. Some people it's not so easy for them to love their wife. They look back saying, 20 years ago, what did I find in you 20 years ago? Now I'm stuck with you for 20 years. But, chas v'shalom, not to step on anybody's toes. But the idea is that I need to develop the sensitivity how to love another person. The right way is how to love another soul, not another person. Because could be a person that's in my life that their actions are not what I will agree with. It doesn't mean I have to like their actions, but I'm definitely required to love their soul. So the right way of saying it is I need to know how to develop the sensitivity to love another soul or another person. Now, the easiest way to practice it is my spouse. And I'm going to talk in the end what happens if I don't have a spouse. But the easiest is when you have a spouse and you have to practice this. How do you develop the sensitivity to love? Because in the first 3 months, half a year, you're in love with your future wife. After 20 years, love is not so much in the air. So that's just in the song, love is in the air, right? This is not in the reality. But even if we're taking it not only for a spouse, can be a child or a parent or anybody, when you are in a relationship, after a while you don't remember that there's love in this relationship. There's can be many other things, but you forget very quickly about the love in the relationship. I need to constantly remind myself is that there's love in the certain relationship. And you know what? Even in situations that I don't like, then I have to remember that there's love there. And sometimes I forget that I love another person. You see it mainly in relationships between a husband and wife. It will also occur between a child and a parent. That's usually the case. That sometimes times pass so much, I forget that there's love involved in this relationship. Because life is so busy and there's so much distractions that I forget, wait a minute, I actually love this person. So there are two ways we're going to look at things. A are the ones that I really love. Not going to talk right now, we're going to talk very soon in Gvura Shebechesed, how do I start developing love for the ones I don't really love. But first let's focus on the ones that I actually do love. You have to figure out and remember that in almost any relationship, a lot of relationships are not so healthy or they're not so strong. You'll see that a lot either in a husband and wife, and like I said, between a parent and a child. And how many people come and say, I love my parents, but I have a very bad relationship with them. I love my mother, my mother I get along with, my father. But there's love there. And I have to remember, wait a minute, I still love this person. And it happens a lot to parents when they see the child going on a path that they're not so happy about. But you still love that child. That child is still your flesh and blood. So I have to remember constantly, because sometimes I forget that sometimes I love another person. Now, when do you remember that you love another person that is close in your life? When the person is not in your life. Unfortunately, people realize that when the Chas v'shalom, that person dies. Suddenly you remember after 50 years, he was so great and so good. Where were you 50 years? So I'm sure you notice that every couple of weeks I go on a tour. I don't like these tours. I'm out of my house, out of my comfort zone. I'm away from my kids, away from my wife, away from my surrounding. But I'm always looking, away from my students, away from you, and away from the bakery here, and horrible coffee in America. It's just unbelievable. 3 weeks now, I couldn't get a decent cup of coffee. So, no offense to the Americans, but nevertheless, 3 weeks, finally in my last stop in Florida, it was an Israeli restaurant. Finally give me some good coffee here. But anyways, why, even in a bad situation, I always try to find something positive. And you can always find positive things in bad situations, that's when I realize how much I love my wife and my kids, because they're not around me. So when I'm busy in my day-to-day life, it's very easy to forget the love, because the wife can cause you anger and stress, and the kids sometimes will push all your buttons. When you're away, suddenly all the text messages, I love you, and hearts flying backwards and forth, and that doesn't happen face to face. It only happens when it's far away. So you have to remember, have to give yourself a little smack in your head sometimes, that in the relationships that you are, there's love there. Don't forget that, and you have to arouse this love to love another person. It's not so easy to love another person. And when you really feel that is when you find in your life sadness. Sometimes you don't understand, but you're sad. You wake up in the morning, I'm not in a good mood. Why are you not in a good mood? Why, you think because there's not a lot of money in the bank account that you're not in a good mood? Oh, I don't know what, you got a letter from the electricity company and the bill's 3 times as much as what you thought. I think that's what's going to put you in a bad mood. You're not in a good mood because the soul is unhappy. And not necessarily it's always a good mood. Sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're grouchy or whatever. It's because the soul is kind of pushing from inside. And the easiest way to realize why I'm in these moods is because it means I don't give enough love to somebody. It's not about me. It's totally reversed than what you think. We live in some type of a state of understanding that I need to be loved, I need to be appreciated, I need to be thanked, it's totally the opposite. And one of the many reasons why sometimes you'll be in a state of sadness, some people call it a bad mood. I'm not in a good mood today. It's not necessarily because the physical distractions or the materialistic distractions you have in your life. It's because that day or that week you didn't give enough love. So your soul is programmed. I mean, at the end of the day, we are a manifestation of Hashem. B'tzelem Elokim nivra Adam. Avraham was Isha Chesed. If he was not in the state of giving, he was sad. 3 days after his circumcision, he was sitting outside the tent, upset because there's no guests. So Hashem had to bring somehow guests to make him, now I'm in a state of giving. Most of us are not in a state of giving because we want to be receivers. Try it once in your lifetime to be on the other hand and to give. You're sad, you're depressed, you feel empty, you feel angry, you feel that you need to get some love. Try it the other way around. Then, okay, let me give some love to somebody, and you'll see that suddenly your neshama is more fulfilled. So, what is practical to what we're learning right now? I need to stop running after the idea that I need to receive something. Right? Because in most relationships, I'm looking at this is the center. And then if something doesn't go wrong, it's because I didn't get what I want. So practically saying is that I need to stop running after the fact that I need to get. It's more about where can I give. And it's not that you lose anything here. A lot of people say, why should I give? I mean, I'm doing everything in this relationship. This is a very distorted way of thinking. Don't look at what you're giving and what you're going to lose, or you doing much more, and I'm contributing much more. That's a very superficial way of looking at situations in a relationship. Trust me that when you're going to stop running after in a certain relationship, how am I getting something from it? You'll see that the relationship is much, much more healthier. Now, I'm giving examples with a husband and wife. It's not necessarily a husband and wife. It can be even between two friends, can be between two partners, can be between neighbors, any type of relationship. I'm just giving an example with a husband and wife. Now, what I need to focus on is, first of all, not to run after what I receive, which means what I need to do is in a relationship, not to look, what am I getting? You need to thank me. You need to appreciate me. Rather to completely switch and say, okay, how can I appreciate you? How can I give you? How can I make your life a little bit better? And not only that, not only what I'm receiving from this transaction, what can I give? And this is where it's applied not only with the husband and wife, also with any type of person that I have an interaction. Because most people in any type of relationship is, what am I getting here? If I'm not getting anything here, I don't need you. That's the attitude of most people. I need to completely switch it. What am I giving to the relationship? And the Yetzer Hara, my ego will tell me, but you're getting the short end of the stick. That's not a good business deal here for you. But that's just your ego telling you that you need to get something. So, practically, to what you want to apply for the homework of today, if you're married, this is where you apply it. And the reason why you apply it in a very small way, because once you know how to apply it in something close, you'll know how to apply it in something else. So if you are married, then you have to constantly remind yourself how great is the person that you love. Because that person is great. First of all, that they bothered to marry you, that's already thank them. So that's what my rabbi told me when I was engaged. You should thank your wife all your life. She might even bother to even look into your direction. So you think you're so great. You should thank her all the time that she decided to marry you even. So that's first of all that I have to apply is how do I see the greatness in the person in front of me. If I am not married, if you are single at this time, then what you need to understand is that most people when they're single, what they're so to say looking for is I want to be loved. I want to have somebody around me so I can be loved. You got to switch the attitude is I want to find somebody so I can give all my love to. That I can completely share what I have with somebody else. This is practically saying, and if you're not under one of the categories, so you find the person in your life where you can recognize this person is in my life and that person is great. How can I appreciate the greatness of that person in my life? And if I'm lacking, is to understand that it's not only what I will receive is what I can give. And trust me, the ones who are at this moment are single, If you change your attitude that your entire search for the other half is who's the person I can give so much to, you'll see that things will change faster and in a completely better way. In any relationship, if I'm looking to get something from it, this relationship already is a problem. It's going to be a problem because in the relationship should be what am I giving, not what am I taking. This is where most people fail, even with kids. They think that the kids work for them, or that my kids are my slaves or something. They have to do something for them. They don't have to do anything for me. They're actually here to make me a much better person. If you have the attitude in any relationship that the person in front of me is here for me to give them, then I need to develop this sensitivity to love, the ability to love another person. Because most people in my life, I don't really love them. I only love them when I benefit from it. If I don't benefit from it, then I don't love you anymore. So this is what we want to focus on today. And again, you apply that not necessarily today, you apply that at any time of your life. You can take a few notes how you want to do it in the rest of your life, but it doesn't mean that only today that's what you want to do. You want to do that on every day and every time that you have the opportunity.